All right, this week I had the pleasure of building a new deck on my mother-in-law's trailer house. Here is the old deck. It doesn't look too bad, but honestly the decking was in pretty bad shape. Some of the framing was okay, but for the most part it was rotting, so decided to tear the entire thing off. We went with brown treated lumber. Brown treated is starting to phase out the green treated stuff, aside from looking better than green treated. Green treated also has some toxins that make it not exactly environmentally friendly. So the goal is to take this pile of raw materials and turn it into a new deck. First, obviously, is destruction. So I decided to use a Sawzall. I cut all the way through all of the framing members. You can see the joists there. Those were 2x8s at 2 foot on center. I beefed it up a little bit with 2x10s, but cut it into about 6 sections with a Sawzall, and it took about 2.5 hours to get it off site. And this is what we were left with. So, not exactly conventional in that I could not attach the joist to the house. So, I had to do it in 2 sections. Other than that, I could have done it by myself, 22 feet long, but since it was that long and I couldn't attach it to the house, I laid it out, framed it up, located where the corners were going to be, got it squared, and moved it into position in 2 sections. As you can see here, then that's the whole thing framed up. I was going to use a laser level, but decided to just go with a 4-foot level and put blocking on the posts, set it on there, screw it in place, take the blocking back off, and we're good to go. To start the decking then, I laid out and notched around the posts using a circular saw and a hand saw and a chisel. And then I notched at the corners as well and used a 45. I like to cap the ends of the deck boards so that end grain is not showing. You can kind of see a finished corner here then. And what I'm talking about then is that you have no end grain showing on the entire thing except for on the rim joists. And there you can see the board wrapping all the way around, the deck board sitting in. I've got all the posts cut off 36 inches, and then I used a circular saw and put a chamfer on the top of the post, mostly for decoration. Starting the steps then, I've got to make some stringers, buried some posts. I framed those straight out from the deck and buried some newel posts about 3 feet down. Laying out the stringers, this deck was 28.5 inches or so off the ground. So a good stringer and a good stair tread combo is 2 times the rise plus the tread should equal 25. So 28 inches and change divided out, I ended up with 7 1/8 inch rises, 10-inch treads, and that gives a pretty good formula. So I made 3 stringers, and here I'm just kind of showing where they're going to go. And then I put a couple bags of Quikrete into the newel post, buried those, plumbed them, let it set up, and then started building the railing. So with the railing, when you put a railing on a deck or on a stair on the interior of a house, code requires that the spacing be no more than 4 inches so that a child can't get their head in there. So with this particular railing, I went with some 45s here. I just made a mock-up so she could see it and approve it. This way you don't have to drive screws into the end grain or into the side of the top and bottom rail, which would split them. So these 45s are not only decorative, they're structural as well. And then I figured out the spacing and made a spacer block and started screwing those in place. Again, no screws going into end grain, so it's not splitting. I put 2x2s all the way around to screw the railing into. And that was pretty much it. It took me a while to get the railing going, but there's Mama on her new deck, 22 by 10, and I'm going to build an awning next for it. All right, get out there and do something.